Hi, and welcome to the I Teed Myself podcast. My name is Matthew Miniman, and this is episode 129. What can mosh pits teach us about hacking? So, if you've never been to a mosh pit or been to a concert that has a mosh pit, one, you've probably never listened to this podcast before and are probably talking to the ether. But for the sake of rhetoric, if you've never been to a mosh pits are interesting phenomena in music culture. It's really weird. Punk concerts, metal concerts, maybe Taylor Swift concerts. I don't know. Mosh pits are sort of this organically grown dancing circle where the purpose is to kind of just run into as many people as possible. And from the outside, it can seem like the only intent there is to injure each other. It's just to see, how hard you can hit each other. And that's not really what moshing is about. Moshing is just about having fun in a circle with, 30 of your closest unknown friends, trying to see, again, really just see how much fun you can have running bodily into each other, without injuring. And it's kind of cool because it's a little odd how nice mosh pits are. Because, there are actually a lot of unspoken rules about mosh pits. You're not supposed to hurt anybody. It's not like it's not about injuring somebody. It's not about trying to hurt the other guy. It's trying to see how hard you can throw yourselves against each other or just have fun. Really, that's all it's about. So, you fall, you trip and have an issue where you're in a vulnerable position. It can be a really interesting experience because everybody is now willing to help you. You're able to have somebody pick you up, and everybody is really nice. And it can be really sweet, actually, or somebody gets thrown into a mosh pit who doesn't actually want one. Those who are moshing will actually protect that person and get them away. And, there's a lot that's to be said about that. And there's no formal rules about mosh pits because that's not what punk is about, God damn it. And that's kind of where moshing started. Started in the punk scene, I don't know, way back in the 70s. And it was really just a way to I guess, dance. I don't know, exercise against the music, really get into it, physically get into the music, physically be a part of the music without having to actually dance or really do anything, know how to dance, know how to do anything in particular, just running around into other people. And that's kind of the basics of how moshing is. You just were trying to see what you could do, what you could get away with. And again, some of it is throwing yourselves bodily against each other, just see how hard you can do it, not to hurt each other, but just to have fun. But then, some of the other things that show up as moshing are, you do have people who are just absolutely, I don't know, psychotic, sociopathic. They're something that's not quite right with it mentally because they decide that, moshing is really all about just hurting people. And so they'll throw bows, they'll wear spikes with the intent to injure people. They will try to hurt people in the mosh pit, which is not what it's about. It's not about trying to hurt. And that really kind of needs to be said louder, especially in a mosh pit. And it's similar with hacking. Originally, back in the 70s, hacking was a term that was associated with MIT nerds, that's the only way to say it, who were messing with technology, who were trying to get technology to do things that it wasn't entirely intended to do. And this was all the way to the point of hacking to rewire, resolder connections on boards and reprogram operating systems or reprogram software hacking was literally just kind of this uh, phenomena that was just trying to get anything and everything electronic to do something that really wasn't intended to do. And that's kind of the spirit of what hacking was supposed to be about. You're just supposed to be trying to see what you can do, what can technology do. And we see that a lot around the world today. Hacking is not inherently bad. I mean, we've got guys who hack birth control, or not birth control, but pregnancy tests to run Doom just to see if they fucking can. And, like, you can hack your TV. It's against your TV's terms and services. But yeah, that's an example of where you could hack something. It's not going to hurt anybody. You're really just discovering what you can do with it, and you're unlocking the potential. And the company that owns that device, or maybe owns is too negative of a term because you bought it, but they still own it. But maybe the company who made that device probably doesn't like you hacking that TV, because now they can't do the things that they want to do, like serve you ads or whatever. But you can absolutely do that. And, every TV, I have a TV directly behind me right now. It runs on an Android TV OS. And that Android TV OS it's just a generic OS. It's got flaws. It's got ways to get into it. It's got methods for me to hack it and understand it better, but also to see what I can do with it. I can make sure I never see an ad again. Make sure I'm never force-fed some stupid ad about a TV show I don't give a shit about. Make sure that I'm not forced to choose one of the limited number of streaming services that are available through that general app store. I can go and download my own shit. That is kind of what hacking is directly about. And you can hack just about anything. Just like previously the MIT technicians did back in the 70s. You can absolutely hack just about anything you want. But when you go from this unofficial methodology of just trying to see what you can get away with to intentionally trying to harm somebody, that's where you've crossed that line from being a hacker, quote unquote, into being a malicious actor. And that's really what needs to be said. Hacking is not inherently bad. It is not an inherently negative thing to do. It is where you attempt to make that something that is going to harm other people, whether intentionally or unintentionally, that makes you a bad actor. And when you cross that line, it makes it really does make it harder for justification for you to continue doing that. And some of these examples are things like, there's a whole community out there, and I'll use the TV as an example. There's a whole community out there for hacking your TV. They probably have Reddit. They've probably got subreddits. They've probably got some Discords. I know they have GitHubs, but they show how to break into the operating system of your TV. They show you how to. They kind of walk you step by step on how to process their software, and so all of this code and stuff is available online where you can find it, and you can follow a lot of the steps to break out of your own TV's limitations. But there are people who will then take that information and craft their own packages and methods to break other people's TVs to then do something negative, like take control of the device or use it as a bot against the rest of the internet to spread their malicious intent. It's that where you are attempting to take control of another person's device that really does cross that line. Now, that's not the only example of where this goes from whimsical jailbreaking to malicious acting. There's a lot of examples of this. Phones, a lot of cell phone, specifically Android devices, even some iPhone devices, jailbreaking an iPhone used to be a huge thing. Probably still is. I don't know. I don't own an iPhone, but it used to be a huge thing way back when, jailbreaking your iPhone. And because if you jailbroke your iPhone, you could do additional stuff, and you could essentially turn it into an Android. But the idea was you could do that. Well, now, there are people who have taken that methodology and they've bastardized it into, oh, well, if I can jailbreak your phone for you, I can take control of it and install insecure software that allows me to sift off data, to steal your pictures, whatever. I can make your phone do what I want and harm you, whether intentionally or unintentionally, because that's just how that's what they want to do. And these are things that can go from, or take the whimsical or natural organic exploration of what devices can do and really turn it into a negative thing. And it's really weird because sometimes really what the problem is with this rather is that laws regarding cybersecurity and computer behavior and those that are specifically targeting hacking and modification of electronics are all built by people who don't fucking understand the system. They don't understand how these things work. They don't understand how technology exists. And so what they do is they use a huge, wide swath approach to deny people the ability to explore. They deny people the ability to have fun. They deny people the ability to mosh because they don't fucking understand how these things work. They can't themselves draw the line of, oh, this is where you can identify where somebody has moved to malicious intent. So what they do is they then say, well, you can't do any of this at all. For example, you cannot, as a rule, modify a radio transmitter in the United States. It is not something that is allowed legally. There is a legal protection around modifying transmitters to keep them within a specific scope. Now there's a lot of reasons around that. One, you don't want to fuck with people's signals. You don't want to mess with the public signal at all. But they use this huge swath approach because instead of targeting intent or targeting damages, they basically just made it illegal to do any modification on a radio, which is bad because there are some really fucking cool things you can do with a modification to a radio. And that's not really the limit of it. It's illegal to have, I forget what the term is, and I'm too lazy to look it up right now, but there is a device out there that you can make that basically blasts out a canceling signal for 4G, 5G radio signals, which means cell phones in the affected area will just not work. And that is one of those lines where it's cool. I figured out how to do this, but now I'm affecting other people. And that's really the intent of this. Like that's a targeted thing that can do harm to other people. But again, like that's something that we can figure out how to do and we can have fun with. And maybe there's a reason why you want to do that within the bounds of your own house or within your own area. And maybe there's no reason for somebody to come in and tell you how to do what you want to do, or tell you that you can't do that. Maybe there's a reason for that. But again, it's the malicious intent that is changing, or that has changed this organic approach to discovery and turned it into this bastardized malicious act. And the people who are making the rules don't understand. They just don't understand how to properly craft their rules, or craft the rules to allow people the ability to continue discovery but protect the rest of the world. And so again, they take this large swath approach that can damage that organic flow and make it harder for people to do things. And they do this on both sides. They try to limit manufacturers' ability to provide that functionality, or they require that manufacturers don't provide that capability to end users. And that's a problem because it's like a concert venue saying you can't mosh here. Moshing is not allowed in this venue. It really is against the purpose of the music. Like punk is just, you're there to have fun. You're there to enjoy it. It's not about rules. It's actually about discovery. It's about learning who you are and what you like, and having a connection with other people in a way that you can't outside of music. And it's similar with hacking. You want to have this connection with other people, with a community that you otherwise wouldn't. You can't have outside of this specific type of environment. You can't have this camaraderie with, hey man, I'm going through the same thing you are. I'm trying to do this exact same thing for these exact same reasons. And there's a connection there. There is something there that draws you to those people. And that, I'm making this sound a lot more sunny and, kumbaya than probably it is, but it is the truth. Like, there is a reason why people are in and invested into these communities. It's because it is a community, and these people feel like they have a level of trust and understanding with the other people there. And, you want to make sure that you have these folks available, and that you can continue to help and grow with them and discover and learn. And that's what it's all about. It's all about discovery. It's all about learning. And it's not about damaging other people. And the unfortunate part is that corporations do end up getting hurt as well, which may not be the intent. But again, it's about discovery. It's about learning how to do things. And one last example for this that is really, I don't know, it's a gray zone, and I have a hard time defending either side of it. And it's really odd. And that is cracking digital rights management protections for games. And so there is a group out there, and one particular person in specific, who basically go in and crack digital rights management protections for video games. And they allow basically anybody to download and install and run these games, even though they didn't pay for it. And so through removing these protections, they're allowing everybody to download and install these games, which harms the people who wrote the games, specifically because they're no longer getting paid for them. And in general, that's a bad thing because it's stealing, right? So that's wrong and morally wrong. But the argument is, if I don't know I'm going to like the game, I don't want to buy it. But there's no return policy for a lot of the stores out there. Like, I can't buy a game, try it, and return it, or the process to do so is excruciating and aggravating. I should be able to try it at no risk, return it with no complication, and that should be how I process games. But that's harmful because there's also no way to guarantee that you delete the game that you've now pirated from the internet. So there's that. It does harm people, but it also provides a service that allows people to experience the game who otherwise couldn't, and experience it in a way that they're not committed to spending their time and money on that game. So there are positives and negatives to this. And again, while I don't support pirating, it's really hard to justify that they're doing a lot of harm. It's hard to justify the fact that they're doing a lot of harm against a corporation, because again, there's a lot of people who just wouldn't play games. They just wouldn't play the game if they couldn't get it. They just wouldn't buy it. So the company's not actually losing out on any money. But it's that it's that, they are doing harm. You are stealing something, you are taking something. There's an ethical problem with that. Now, where we run into other issues is that people then take that cracked game, that broken digital rights management, and they inject their own code into the process of installing the game, which then means that they've installed malicious software, command and control software onto your computer, and now you are a victim of attack. And again, this is where it bleeds directly into malicious intent. Not every cracked game is malicious, and not every malicious action comes from a game, but this is one of the ways that it can spread. But I'll give you another twist to this, because a lot of the digital rights management cracks that have been pushed over the years, what's really interesting is that the game companies actually end up using a lot of those cracks or use cracked versions of those games to then fix things that have been broken by their team. They've significant amounts of companies have been caught doing this. Blizzard was caught doing this specifically. They released a version of their, back when games used to come on discs. They had a digital rights management system that required the disc to be present. And so somebody cracked the game and basically circumvented that requirement. And then Blizzard was caught copying that code. Literally, they just copied the code block, the entire code block, including the comments from the developer of that crack, and just injected it into their in line with the game that they then released, the game update that they then released. So, it's even the game manufacturers don't really have a problem with this in the end, because it's a service that helps them make things better. And digital rights management does have a significant wear and tear on a system. It eats up CPU. Incorrect deployment of the de novo DMR protection, or DRM protection, is what caused a significant amount of people to not be able to play a lot of games, because it fucked with the CPU. It reduced their ability to operate their own computer, because it basically ate up a bunch of CPU memory. I think this was specifically a thing with Crysis, which is one of the reasons why everybody thought Crysis needed such high system requirements, aside from the fact that it's poorly optimized and can't run multi-threaded. But de novo was one of the reasons why that occurred, because everybody was like, holy shit, it's eating up so much CPU, when in fact it's just the de novo process that's eating up all your CPU and memory. And so this is the thing. These protections can really screw with people's ability to play the game, which is another service that these guys who crack games provide. They're hacking the system to make it better, to provide a service to allow people to have fun and do discovery. But when it goes from discovery to harm, I'm going to steal every game because I can. I'm never going to pay for a game again. These are problems. These are things that make this no longer a mosh pit, but really just a fighting pit. And that's not what punk is about. And that's why the man comes down and creates rules that are bullshit. You shouldn't listen to him, because fuck you. Thought this is America. Whatever. That's all I got time for today, guys. I hope you all have a great day.